What's up there, everybody? It's Odin here. Sunday afternoon, not Sunday evening this time. And I also flip flopped my camera for various reasons. So now I'm on the left side instead of the right side, but whatever. Um, it's all the same, just backwards. But yeah, Sunday afternoon instead of Sunday evening, mostly because I want to watch football tonight, and the games are all late, and I don't want to be up terribly late making this video. So instead of my evening libations, which I usually do, my whiskey or beer, I'm drinking coffee today. Really good shit, by the way. It's coffee with chicory, and I never knew what that was. And even when I bought it, I didn't know that it was had chicory in it. And I was scooping out. I'm like, this looks different. I don't know what's the deal with it. Like some of it looked like typical coffee grounds, and then some other stuff in there. It looked like almost like tobacco or something. But tried it out, and it's fucking amazing. Actually, I love it. So chicory is just another plant that has been used as a coffee substitute, and apparently it's a French thing to mix the two. Very dark roast, very flavorful. Just a little bit of a different taste, but I like it, and it's exception, especially especially good if you do use a lot of cream, which I do. So the coffee's good. It's oh, you pulled out the gourmet shit like Pulp Fiction. Um, I know my coffee's good. I'm the one who buys the shit. I know my coffee's good. I don't need you to tell me my coffee. Anyway, that's my Quentin Tarantino impression. I buy the good shit. Bonnie buys the what she buys is shit. So yeah, no libations yet. We're just still in coffee mode. And I started making this video a little bit ago, and just was like, I don't know, a few minutes in, I'm like, fuck, I got pissed really bad. And I was trying to gauge in my mind which makes me have to piss more, beer or coffee. They both are pretty what do you call it, diuretic, where they make you have to piss. And I drink coffee all day. I drink beer all evening, so I just piss all the time. And then during the day, I'll drink water, and water makes me piss. So yeah, just constantly pissing. It's all good. Easy come, easy go. What's the saying? You don't buy beer, you rent it. Same with coffee. But so anyway, what else? We got a page here. This is newest page I'm working on, almost complete, for Unconditional Shove Volume 2. The story is we're nearly done. This is page 11 of 15, so pretty soon we'll be wrapping this one up, and this is just one of the stories in Volume 2. We're going to have at least 4, and those 4 will be guest writers, guest artists. I'm going to be drawing on more. This one I wrote and drew, and then we've got a story from James is writing another story, and we may be working on one together as well. Hojo's got a story coming up. Connor McCreary's got a story in this book. And then as far as guest artists, they're going to be awesome. I can't say because I don't speak until I'm pretty sure on something, because I don't want to lie or have it come back and be like, never mind. So, but regardless, the art that's going to be accompanying this that isn't mine is going to be badass. It's actually probably going to make mine look like shit next to it. It's good and some good artists. It's going to be awesome. So I can show this page though. And what's going on? We've got the cascading picture frame of his wife there. Moving into what's going to be a monster battle. It's going to be great. And we're just about there to where all hell breaks loose, literally and figuratively. And yeah, I'll show that again. That's kind of like the biggest portion of the page. Yeah, things are happening. I still haven't come up with a title for this story. Just don't know yet. There's a lot of options, and the title for anthology series is probably one of the funnest things to come up with. So So we'll see. But that's where Unconditional Shove is. And then when I'm done with this page, I'll flip flop back to Kill Them Dead, doing just pencils on those, and just keep going back and forth as long as I can. And it's a lot of fun. And Kill Them Dead, we still don't have the relaunch date just yet, but working hard on it. We want to have so much more accomplished and done and ready to go when we launch again. One of the things that's really getting close is we're working on the music side as well. We've got several songs stockpiled, and I'm going to need to take some time, which it does take a lot of mental energy to make sure that lyrically it matches with the story and lyrically it flows well for the melody, and come up with a kick-ass melody, and then also make sure that I can sing it properly. And then I'll book some time at the studio and go record. And yeah, we'll have several more songs finished as well. About half of the songs done. And then just constantly putting out pages and having Skunk work on those as well. I still haven't seen what he's done yet. I'm very excited. He's kept it hush-hush for the moment. He's asked a few questions and kind of told me how he's going to approach it. So I'm very excited. So anyway, you can go to the Kickstarter Kill Them Dead sign-up page. That way you can stay abreast of all of, when we're going to launch, all that good stuff. And speaking of abreast, I went to Hooters yesterday. That was the first time I've ever done that. It's been a franchise for a long time. Known for having women wearing less clothing and being relatively attractive, walking around and serving. And yeah, that's basically what it was. Relatively attractive women serving with showing their assets. Food was okay. It was better than I expected. It wasn't terribly expensive. So it was a pretty good experience. But I figured I had to check that off the list someday. Seeing as I've never actually went. So now I can check it off. It was exactly what I thought it would be. But anyway, that's like the highlight of my weekend, it seems like. Probably. Outside of that, just been working on shit. So like I mentioned, I'm doing a afternoon because I want to watch football tonight. And excited for football, so that's always a interesting highlight of my weekend as well. So I'm going to sit here and finish this page and watch football. I couldn't care less who wins in the AFC because I hate both teams. I talked about it last week, how I hate the Chiefs. They've been a division rival, and honestly, I just hate dynasties when they're not my team. And I got so sick of the fucking Patriots back in the day. For a long stretch, they were always either right there, going to the Super Bowl, or at least getting to the AFC championship game. And I just got so sick of them. I fucking hated them. And the Chiefs are the new Patriots at the moment. And damn it, if they're not in the same division as us, makes it even worse. Mahomes is really, really freaking good. I mean, I've already said it, and I have to admit it, even though it sounds weird. Basically, he's on a trajectory to not only be the best quarterback of all time, but considerably higher than the rest. If he doesn't have a catastrophic injury and he keeps playing at the same level, which I just imagine will probably continue. So, kudos to him. I mean, fuck him, but kudos to him. And so I couldn't care. I hate the Ravens as well. The one team that is the saving grace is the team that's so far away from being a dynasty that no one expected. I mean, there was some expectations at the beginning of the year, but it's been so long since they were any kind of relevant, and that's the Detroit Lions. So I really don't want the Niners in the Super Bowl. Nothing against them personally, I guess, but if it's Niners Chiefs or if it's Niners Ravens, that's just a replay of a Super Bowl that happened not too long ago, and that pisses me off. I like parody. I was actually rooting for Texans Lions Super Bowl. I thought that would have been the best, or the Browns Lions Super Bowl. You know, one of the teams that hasn't been in the Super Bowl, or having both teams that have never been in the Super Bowl play in the Super Bowl. That would make my day. But as it stands, my last saving grace is the Lions. If they don't get in the Super Bowl, it's going to be just severely disappointing. So, and that said, my team hasn't been relevant for a long time. So that's why when I don't have a dog in the fight, I definitely root underdog, typically. And again, I like the parody of the NFL, and the more that there's dynasties, the less that parody is important. And I love when a team comes out of nowhere and no one expects them, or a team that's never been relevant is all of a sudden like doing well, and that's what makes it fun for me. So yeah, gonna watch some football, gonna draw, and that'll be the highlight of my weekend. So I was talking about John's Longbox and how, you know, in the Sunday mornings he pulls out these books. No, I wasn't talking about that. That was on the video where or maybe I did. I don't know. Anyway, earlier today, John's Longbox has on Sunday mornings he pulls out a gem from his collection and goes through it. Yeah, I think I talked about that on the one where I had to stop and take a piss. It felt like I already talked about it, but. But on Sundays he does that, and today he pulled out X-Men #1, the original Jack Kirby Stanley X-Men #1, and flipped through it page by page, going through the whole thing, and it's so much fun. And I think it's such a treat that he does that. Now, obviously, it wasn't like a super high near mint copy, which is damn near priceless, but you know, reader copy. But still, it's a rarity of a book, and most people, myself included, haven't seen all the pages. I've seen portions of the pages, and a lot of these stories, specifically in Marvel lore, I don't know DC as well, but in Marvel lore, like I picked them up through secondhand places, not actually reading the books. One of the main culprits or sources of that information came from the first card set. So when I was young, before I got into comic books, I was into sports cards. Always been into sports, you know, I just talked about football and everything. Played sports, my dad played sports, my uncle was a coach, played sports. It was just big in our bloodline, basically. And it's kind of one regret that I had, that I didn't really pursue it that much, because I was fairly athletic and had a good build for football, basketball, whatever I wanted to do, and I just felt that other things were more important. Yeah, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, basically. But that said, when I was really young, I was really into sports cards and collecting them. Somebody gave me like a whole collection one time, and I just, you know, when you get exposed to something that you really like, you just go head first and you just get all into it. And sports cards were very big at the time. And I remember organizing them and memorizing the stats and all this kind of stuff. Well, when I found comics, it was like a new thing, almost like sports cards was, where it was like, this is exciting and new, and I'm really into it. But shortly after I first was exposed to comic books and got into them, they released the Marvel card set. And that card set was where I got a lot of information about different characters, their backstories, their powers. And they also had cards that would be like famous battles, and it would show Daredevil versus Bullseye, and they would explain which issues the arc was contained in this battle, and the artwork on these was just excellent. And so I got into these cards, and I would do like I did with the sports cards. I would just read the backs and study and organize them, and I was super into it that way. And that compensated for not being able to buy all the issues, and there was no internet back then, and it was just harder to like learn all this stuff. The other source, well, there's two other sources. One was Wizard and Hero Illustrated. They would talk a lot about the classic stories, and you just kind of put together bits and pieces of what you hear and fill in the blanks, and you kind of get the continuity and the scope of the Marvel universe. And that was some of the fun. I think a lot of people love that idea about comics and a comic book universe is all the continuity and all the craziness of all these characters in one universe. And I know when Image started, they were trying really hard to replicate that, but they wanted to put the cart before the horse. Like that took many, many years and lots of trial and error to get to that point of having this expanded, gigantic universe of characters. But the other source was role playing game. There was a Marvel role playing game that we used to play. I can't remember what it was called. I just remember it was called like Marvel Superheroes or something, but it had like a V shape of all these characters running towards you on the cover. And again, they had all the characters and you could see their stats within the role playing game, how they ranked and things like that. And it was pretty cool. So a lot of that, you put all that together. I didn't read a ton of the books that predated me. They were I pieced together the info from those sources. All that to say, it was really cool to see John's Longbox on his show doing this Sunday morning, where he pulls out these classic issues and highly sought after books, and just go page by page with his audience, and super cool. Also, just recently met John in on the Man Cave, and we were talking, and going to be a guest on his show, maybe with some of the other BCE guys. We'll see if James and Skunk might be able to join, but to talk Kill Them Dead and Shove and all these things, bastards. Paper Machete, I'm sure that'll come up. What all this stuff we're working on, and then so that was pretty cool. That's coming up in February. I think February 16th. It's a Friday. I know that. So as it comes closer, I'll be promoting it, and hopefully y'all can join us. John's a true comic book fan. It'll be fun to just sit, talk about what we're working on, and also just talk comics in general. It's always a good time. So that'll be cool. But yeah, he told me about his Sunday mornings where he flips through these books, and yeah, it was pretty fun. So yes, you could go to his channel now and check out the backlog of these Sunday streams where he just goes through a book. I think he went through Fantastic Four #1. I can't remember which other ones, but yeah, pretty interesting that he's got such rare titles and bigger titles like that. What else going on? Yeah, football, all those things. Oh, I was thinking about superheroes, because as he's going through these older books and what superheroes mean to comic books, are basically the shining achievement of comic books is the creation of the superhero. And a lot of us, myself included, have this great affinity for what superhero comics mean to us, and obviously to the medium of comics. But somewhere along the line, I quit caring about superheroes that much, and I just started focusing on more independent, more obviously I like the old school horror comics, especially the anthologies and stuff. But part of that happened, it was like I think it was a natural progression, because I went through it with music, right? So I got into metal, but when you first get into it, you hear like Metallica or something, like a big name band. Everybody knows them, you hear it all over, and you go, this is interesting, I like this. And then you dig a little further and you start seeing that other bigger name thrash bands are out there. And then you dig a little further and you find the obscure ones. And I got so into like finding obscure titles and kind of claiming ownership for them, like being like, I found this. No, none of my friends know who this is, but I'm going to turn them all onto it because it's really good. And so you find the obscure stuff, and you dig a little further, and you find death metal, and it's a little more aggressive and a little more crazy. And then you go even more in depth with that because you only found the top tier ones, and you start going to the underground there. So just like digging into the underground is something I've always gravitated towards. And with comic books, it was very similar. I remember when I first got into comics, Image was kind of a thing that happened. It was a big pivotal moment in comic books. Oh, and all the guys left from the mainstream and formed Image Comics. For better or worse, one of the byproducts of that was, as a young comic book reader, opening up Image comic magazines. For one, just knowing that somebody could do that. Like, wait, you could just break the mold and be your own, and it exposed my reality exposed me to the reality that there were a lot of independent books. There was a lot of people making independent comics. And there was all these independent publishers that I had no idea who they were. Like, to be honest, I didn't even know that Dark Horse existed. Like, I maybe knew peripherally, but I didn't really give it any credence until that point. And then there would be ads in the back of Marvel or Image Comics for other more independent publishers and whatnot. And then as I started digging a little deeper, so again, you just start going down this rabbit hole, and next thing you know, you're finding a whole new world. And as that happened, my interest matured, in my mind at least, beyond superheroes, and I still had an affinity for what drew me in, and what superheroes mean. But I really drifted more towards, more crazy horror and fantastic things that just weren't superhero books. And even to this day, the Marvel and DC titles that were not superhero books are the ones I liked more typically. So for whatever reason, I hold a superhero comic books and the idea of a superhero in high esteem still, but definitely as far as what I wanted to make, I just never saw it happening. And it feels like, because even with the parodies now, it seems like they've already beat the horse to death, to where the parodies have been done so much that there's not really a good new parody of a superhero. And it's nothing against anybody who's trying. If you do come up with a beautiful, awesome superhero story that's new and original, kudos to you, because that's actually really hard. I think it's kind of just beaten into the ground, and it's just had its time in a certain sense. But to a certain sense, all ideas are kind of like that. We've kind of hit a pinnacle, a peak, maybe not pinnacle, a peak of ideas. And I think now it's even more than ever a conglomeration of what you've already been exposed to, which it can still all be very unique and original, but it does seem like ideas are truly innovative ideas and pioneering ideas seem to be at a lack. And again, that's nothing against anybody who's creating right now. I'm doing it, and but you're a little heavier on your influences, I think, at this point, which was bound to happen. And who knows where things move beyond here. But every once in a while, something comes along that is truly innovative and game-changing and pioneering and different. And anybody who hits that, I mean, that is pure gold. And It's rare. It's lightning in a bottle. It doesn't happen hardly ever. Especially the more time goes on, the less it happens. But I think part of the reason the superheroes took off was it was that it was that innovative idea, just like a brand new approach, and drew on some things that came before it, but uh, it took on its own mantle and its own identity, and it was truly innovative. And I think that's part of the excitement of looking back at old comics is that the the big spark happened, and then the wheels just started moving, and they were giant wheels, and there was no stopping it for a long time. I think its momentum has definitely slowed. We can at least say that. I don't think it's come to a complete halt, but it's so near in mainstream superhero books. So. Anyway, that's my opinion. That's complete commentary. It's not absolute fact. It's just my opinion. But the fact is, it's a good opinion. So yeah, I don't know what else I was watching. I finished all the Twilight Zones again. Season 5, which was the last season, was a bit of a letdown, and season 4 was a bit of a letdown as well. Season 4 is where they went to the hour-long model, away from the quick half-hour length. And a lot of those stories really should never have been an hour long. Like, they would have been bad half-hour stories, and to drag it out for an hour was pretty bad. And season 5 had some pretty excellent episodes. So did season 4, but for the most part, not the best. I think season 1 through 3 were the best, where a lot of I think the most iconic episodes really lie. And so finished that up. So recently renewed my Shudder account so that I could watch the new Creep Show, which came out in like October last year, but it's new to me. It's still fairly new. Season 4 of Creep Show. Watched the first episode of that, and I almost couldn't give the rest a chance. And I'm glad I did, because the other ones were pretty good. But there's always 2 episodes per episode, if that makes 2 stories per episode. And the first one, on the very first episode, was so god awful, so horrible, that I was skeptical to even go forward. And part of that came back to when I bought the recent Creepshow comic book that just I thought was god awful as well. So so I didn't have high hopes. I watched the next few stories and they were much better. So I got a few more episodes to get through, but at least it semi restored my hope in the series, because that first one was such a big turd. Just dropped right in front of you, and I'm like, this is how you're starting out? My only thinking is that they start out so horribly so that even their average stories from then on seem better. Like, well, it's not as bad as that first one, so it's pretty good. So yeah, we'll dive more into that. Yeah, so that was Creep Show. I don't know what else, if there's much else to talk about. I did get this guy. This was from Belmont. As you can see, Belmont Press there. Or I could throw it down here. I don't know which one's going to look better. It came in this cool little box. This was the 2-inch. Belmont sent me a 2-incher. Smokes the Fox. This was his Keshi Dreams figures. The translucent green is what I went with. And he's got different weapons he can throw, and then it came with this little mini comic book, which is super hard to see. It's not going to focus, but it was cool. That was from Belmont, and I think he's doing a Second Chance Smokes right now on Kickstarter. So if you missed Smokes the Fox and Weaponized Werewolf, which were a lot of fun. You can check them out on Kickstarter or get them on Kickstarter right now. So that came in the mail. I'm supposed to be getting Nosfero here soon, I think. Well, I backed it, so I've got to be getting it soon because other people have been getting theirs. So excited for that. And that I haven't got a new book in a while. Trying to think the last books I got. I did get Wraith of God. I haven't read it yet. I had to catch up on that one because I missed the issue 1, so I got in on issue 2. But I also got the shirt for Garbage Man at the same time. So, and that's Aaron Lopresti's Wraith of God. Looking forward to reading that when I put time away so that I could actually sit down and read. I've got a little bit of stack of comics I got to get through, including the new Titan Conan series, which I started, but I need to finish. I've got all like the first 5 episodes, first 5 issues. So we get caught up on that and caught up on a few other things. Maybe tonight before bed. That'll be good. But yeah, that's about it. Had another Saturday Night Leap last night. It was a lot of fun. We talked weekly world news and a bunch of other nonsense, of course. Yeah. So that's what's going on. Probably a whole bunch of other stuff I could talk about, but in the meantime, I'm going to get ready to watch some football and do some more drawing on this page, which we're pretty close. Just all this stuff here in the top, or in this lower right portion, and then we'll be finished. But yeah, this is, like I said, this is a fun part in the story where all hell breaks loose. So it's going to be crazy to draw from here on out. And then, yeah, back to Kill Them Dead, and that's what we're working on. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. This is Odin, and as always, let me end by saying, I hope wherever you're at in life that you're facing everything with confidence, courage, power, strength, but mostly strength of character and integrity, and always a great care for those that you love, the loved ones around you. And do that, and that is, in my mind, the most successful a person can be, is if they really focus on those things. So yeah, be awesome, be strong, and until next time, it's Odin here. We will see ya.